So my dapper people are here. Kojo Yankson flank here. And how are you?
Good morning, Roland. I'm
Yeah,
fine.
Kofi. Sweet looking. How are you?
Thank you. It's like you have to say sweet looking, because if you don't say sweet looking, then I'll have issues with you.
No, the thing
It has to be real.
Yeah, no, yesterday,
You're not like that. So
yesterday I
don't say
started reading and I saw phrases, sweet looking, dapper, you know, some words. No, I didn't see spiffing, but I heard it spiffing. I heard it from you yesterday.
So you don't mean it, but you're just trying the words out.
No, but it's on TV. You have to make the thing look good.
Okay.
That's part of the work.
All right.
So because when I was coming, I was happy. So I don't know how I have to smile for people. It's not easy. So we have to make it real.
Well, good morning. If you're just joining us, this is the AM show, but this is also the final.
This is
Today is the finale, the grand finale, the National Science Maths Quiz. We've been counting down to this day for a really long time. It's at the Saddle College.
Kojo Yankson School is in the running.
Is it?
At the Saddle?
No. I went to St. Augustine.
Sorry.
At the Saddle College, St. Peter's, and West Africa Senior High School. That contest would begin at 10 a.m. and we promise you, we have your back. Live coverage, so whatever you do, make sure your television is with you. You can catch up because we stream live on YouTube, and you can Facebook with us because we'll be live on Facebook as well. Okay, so that's later on this morning at 10. But we have lots of conversations around the National Science Maths Quiz. You're still not telling us which school you went to?
I don't recall declining to tell you. I attended.
Hey, you're complicated.
I'm not complicated.
Security reasons.
No, the security reasons was for where I live.
So just answer the question. Which school did you attend?
I schooled at Yellow Kobo Senior High School. Relax.
Fantastic. They produce you. Charlie, fantastic school.
It's in Somanya.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yellow Kobo Secondary School.
So how far did you guys go?
They didn't even contest at the regional level.
No, we were at the regional level. The last I checked, we were at the regional level.
The last you checked?
Yes.
You're like
I'm talking about this year.
You're like one of those old boys and girls of senior high school from West Africa.
You see, there's a philosophy we have back in the school, and that is that if we are going to take part in the NSMQ proper, we are going to win it. We don't want to. We don't want to go and don't win.
I see.
So did you take part proper or you didn't?
We are yet to take part proper. That's what I'm telling you. You are not listening to me.
What is the shortened version of your school's name? E-Cross?
It's not what you know, there's a mischief in the newsroom. That is not it. The short
cross.
No, that's not
Is that
it.
what you said?
That's what he said. No, there's a mischief in the newsroom. That's what he's trying to do.
What's the color of your shoe? Is it black?
Black.
Yeah. Yours, what's the color? If viewer wants to know what the color, what this color is, or peach or light peach.
A viewer wants to, have we activated the phone lines?
No,
give us a
people
call.
Communicate with us.
0302-211-6912.
Kojo was the target.
0302-211-6912. If you want to ask a question, otherwise,
we have to start.
The question is overruled.
Oh,
thank you, Mama. Oh God, I love you. Let's move on.
Oh, this is not fair. You know the city is falling, so sometimes when we are saying this thing.
Okay, hang on. Before we even go to the newspapers, we will be live from the National Theatre, and we've got Maxwell. We just want to have a feel of how the place looks like this morning before we dispatch ourselves. So Maxwell Agbagba, if you can hear me, good morning to you. Describe the scene. I'm sure it's an empty National Theatre, but the streets will be busy.
Mama V, all is set here at the National Theatre. All the technical people are already here waiting patiently for the contest to begin in some hours. But already we have some past students of Adisado College also coming in here. Some of them are seated, but the authorities here have not opened the gate yet for them to enter the hall, because we want to make sure that everything is ready before they start allowing people to get inside. So for now, they are waiting here. I can see about 6 of them patiently waiting. They came here sometime around 5:55 a.m., just around the same time when we got here. We are also picking information that for some students of West Africa Secondary School, they just set off from their school campus. 100 of them, we are told, will be coming here. They have been given seats to be inside the auditorium. In fact, yesterday when we were there, the students were telling us that although they've been given 100 seats, some of them would want to find their way here. And I remember the headmaster in charge of administration telling them that, look, you can watch this live on JoyNews. You don't really have to come to the National Theatre to come and support West Africa Secondary School, because remember, we have Adesado College, one-time winners at Adesado College, in this contest. We have two-time winners, St. Peter's also, in this particular contest, and all their past students and present students, will be coming here. So if you have the whole of West Africa Secondary School here, of course, the National Theatre will not be able to, to accommodate all of them. So 100 of them will be here. We understand that they're already on their way. We understand their bus is also on the way from Cape Coast, from Adesado College, coming here to come and support Adesado College. And then St. Peter's also, we hear their buses, coming in. So really, it's a grand finale. It's a big day for West Africa Secondary School especially. They want to write their names in the history books. It's going to be the second time, if they should win the contest, it's going to be the second time you are going to have a day school actually win the National Science and Maths Quiz. We know that St. Thomas Aquinas, they've won that competition before. It's a day school, and then if West Africa Secondary School, they are able to make it, then it means that it will be the second day school to win the National Science and Maths Quiz. Remember, this is their first time in the finals of the National Science and Maths Quiz, and they are willing to, they're determined to go all out to win this particular contest. The two contestants, last year, they represented West Africa Secondary School, and this year also, they are representing West Africa Secondary School. So really, for all the contestants, for the competing schools, if you check, the guys from West Africa Secondary School, they exude lots of confidence, and that tells you that consistency and experience is very, important in this game of science and maths quiz. So, even if they're answering the questions, you realize that there are no stage frights. They take their time to answer the questions, the bell and all of that. But pundits are saying that Adesado College are likely to give them a good run for their money. So the prediction really from people, judging from what we're hearing from people, they are saying that it's going to be a straight fight between Adesado College and then West Africa Secondary School. They're saying this because the two schools have been consistent, over throughout, the competition. For St. Peter's, we saw the consistency at the prelims, and then the 1/8 stage, and then at the quarterfinals. But at the semifinals, it really dropped. But for West Africa Secondary School, we saw it at the 1/8 stage when they met Konongo Odumasi Senior High School. Now, Konongo Odumasi Senior High School, at the time they met West Africa Senior High School, they were the school with the highest points in the prelims. They had 61 points. But West Africa Senior High School managed to beat Konongo Odumasi, Senior High School. In that particular contest, West Africa had 62 points. Konongo Odumasi Senior High School had 55 points. Now, in their second contest also, when they met Tamale Senior High School, remember, Tamale Senior High School had kicked out at Chimota School, and it was a tiebreaker question that separated the two schools. West Africa Secondary School managed to eliminate Tamale Senior High School. And then in their semi-final contest also, we saw it against the defending champions. Now remember also that the defending champions, Premier College, when they were coming into the contest, they had the highest points in the 2018 competition. They managed to beat Accra Academy. They had 67 points. So for West Africa Secondary School to be able to beat the defending champions who had 67 points in the 2018 competition, the highest that we've seen so far, then it tells you that really the two contestants are really a force, to reckon with. So judging from all these statistics, people are saying that it's likely that West Africa Secondary School will pull through, but Adesado College definitely would give them a good run for their money. So we are waiting to see how it will all pan out, whether these predictions, coming from pundits would really happen, as they're saying.
All right, Maxwell live from the National. Maxwell, stayed right there because we will come to you just before we wrap up. We also want to monitor what the traffic situation is so that we can duly advise persons who want to be at the National Theatre to witness this grand finale. Maxwell Agbawa live from the National Theatre. We'll touch base with him in a bit, but right now Let's come back to the studio. Let's find out what the newspapers are reporting this Thursday.
Yeah, all the newspapers. Do they have the cars?
Oh,
yes. Many of them have the buses.
Okay,
yes.
buses.
But the Ghanaian Times has some rather interesting stories. Banner headline, outcome of U.S. Commerce Secretary's visit. Ghana and U.S. sign 11 investment pacts for business opportunities and partnerships. There is something that people are not really thinking about when it comes to this, and I'll raise it for our discussion in a bit.
But sorry, you have to show the paper a bit.
Oh, yes, of course. I totally forgot. Here we go. Yes, that's the front page of the Ghanaian Times, and quite a lot going on there. Also, in the corner, President departs for South Africa for state visit. Further down, Shraj chases 3 soldiers for brutalizing 4 children, and the president honors 10 foreign service pioneers, and the details are within. I'll tell you a little bit about a story on page 2 later. The headline is Doctor Before Court for Assaulting Actress. Very popular Kumawood actress Benedicta Gaffar is the one at the center of that story. I'll tell you more later. But this, in the center spread, pages 16 and 17, outcome of U.S. Commerce Secretary's visit. Ghana and U.S. have signed 11 investment pacts, memoranda of understanding, if you will, have been signed between Ghana and the U.S. to pave way for investments between both countries in 11 areas. Okay, so the MOU was signed between the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, and the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Wilbur Ross, at the Jubilee House in Accra yesterday. It was witnessed by the President, and also present were the Ministers for Trade and Industry, Energy, and of course that would be Alan Chamanting and Boachi Ejako. So Kojo Nkrumah, Deputy Information Minister, briefed the press afterwards. He said the MOU was signed in the areas of industrial development, infrastructure, agriculture, railway, energy, and many others. Now here's the bit that is interesting to me. He said the agreements were similar to the agreement signed between the first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and the American government, which led to the construction of the Akosombo Dam and the Balco factory. Now guys, I don't know how much you remember about that deal between Nkrumah and the Americans for the dam. Yes, Kaiser. You see, that was an interesting time in world politics. Kennedy and Brezhnev, so America and Russia, had started the Cold War, and they were looking for advantage in Africa. The Congo Civil War had divided the two countries. They had supported opposing sides, and they were looking for a person of great influence like Nkrumah to be on their side. Each country was looking for Nkrumah to be on their side. Okay, Bill Mahoney was the American ambassador to Ghana at the time, and he's on record saying that Nkrumah was everything to the American administration. And the money they gave for Akosombo Dam was to buy Nkrumah's influence. He said this on record. Okay, so hearing the current government repeat that this is like the Akosombo Dam deal, it makes me ask questions. What exactly do they mean when they say it's like? Well, I wonder if that's what they are trying to say.
We've signed military pacts with them. I don't think...
well, that has been labeled by some as an influence peddling deal. The military deal.
America is a real influencing country around the world.
But the important question is, what do we get? These 11 memoranda of understanding. What are we getting? What is our side of it? The guy who came, Wilbur Ross, the Trade Secretary, he himself is an interesting individual. He and Trump have problems. When Trump first nominated him, he described him as a killer. Now, bear in mind, Donald Trump, his special talent, according to him, is making deals. Okay? So the person he chose to make his trade deals was someone who he believed in seriously. But this guy is over 80 years old. He's rumored to fall asleep during meetings, wiping the drool with his tie and all of that. He's a person who Donald Trump is slowly losing faith in. Has actually said on record that the guy is pretty bad at making deals and has made several missteps along the way. So Donald Trump has reversed some of his deals. Like there's a Chinese company called ZTE, which...
that's the mobile phone.
That's right. Wilbur Ross leveled some sanctions against them for violating U.S. trade agreements. Donald Trump came and reversed that by actually bailing out ZTE when they needed money. Okay, so it's basically Donald Trump undermining his trade secretary, and he's done that on several occasions. So I wonder what will become of this deal. Whether Donald Trump is actually on the face of it in favor or might change his mind later, whether these memoranda of understanding will come to anything, and if they do, what exactly is Donald Trump's desire here?
But you do know that the United States of America doesn't sign dormant deals. They've had AGOA, which is still running, not only in Ghana, but respectively in other countries, and they have various trade pacts. They have a chamber that is very much responsible between trade and commerce between the two countries. So definitely, whether Donald Trump has any interest, or his government, or he is even the head of the government at one time or the other, the interests of the American state and the government overrules everything.
This is Donald Trump we're talking about, and he has done this before.
Well,
however, I mean, we still have to ask ourselves, what are we getting? What are we getting out of this deal? I'll touch quickly on this other story, and then we'll move on to the next paper. Doctor before court for assaulting actress. A medical doctor in the United States of America, said to be a former boyfriend of Benedicta Gaffar, a Kumawood actress, has been granted bail of 10,000 Ghana cedis with 2 sureties for allegedly assaulting the actress in 2015. So the individual is called Dr. Charles Asumadu. He's pleaded not guilty, but the charge, or the prosecution says, and this is Police Inspector Michael Cool, who is prosecuting. He has told the court that Dr. Asumadu is a married man, he has children, he practices medicine in the US, he occasionally visits Ghana. Allegedly, during one of those visits, he met Benedicta Gaffar, introduced himself as Kelvin Charles Frimpong. The two started a relationship, had a customary marriage, which was registered at the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly Court in March 2014. But then later, Benedicta Gaffar found out that Asumadu had deceived her about his name and that his family was back in the USA. Gaffar decided to quit the marriage, which from her perspective essentially was not even existent because the individual had married her under an assumed name. But according to Inspector Cool, Asumadu claimed he had spent a lot of money on her. He wouldn't allow her to leave him for another man. So he allegedly snuck into Gaffar's room at Santasi roundabout while she was asleep, woke her up, and without any provocation assaulted her, but was rescued by a neighbor. Now, Asumadu allegedly took 9,000 Ghana cedis and some personal belongings.
He beat her up.
Beat her up, took some money, and ran to the US. But he's back, he's been arrested, he's in court, 10,000 cedis bail, and we will see how it all pans out.
Wow, Benedicta Gaffar. She should have done her due diligence.
That sounds like a movie.
Like doesn't it?
Yeah, like the story that she features in.
Sounds like
one of the stories that... Anyway.
Interesting.
Which are we doing?
Let's do the New Crusader Guide newspaper. Front page of the New Crusader Guide. Blade buses hit town like Joseph Aka Blade buses. No, not quite. It's the man who's standing for a chairmanship position in the New Patriotic Party, but he's also the acting chairman of the party. So ahead of that, delegates confer. How many days now? And this is a major talking point because 100 buses have come through, and he has a deal with the STC. I mean, it's okay. We'll get into a bit of the details, but let's do this. NPP delegate conference. Nanado has no favorites, and glutathione harmful to pregnant women. FDA is warning. And then, as in Team Pledge's strong team for 2020, it has to do with the same story about the Blade buses that have hit town. And yesterday, spokesperson Richard Nyama was on Joy FM on Newsnight to give a bit of background. So at least we know how much this whole deal costs. We know how much Mr. Blay has taken from the bank. And we know the deal with the STC. STC is going to run it. They're going to open accounts for each of the constituencies. So in all, we'll have 275 buses come through. We have 100 now. And the big question is how he's going to make his money back. But also, are we free to make deals like these with STC or any other state institution? To
run your private buses for you.
Exactly.
I think the point Richard Nyama kept making on Newsnight was that he knows that the STC already has such arrangements with other private companies. I think the fact that they are in power and their political party is doing it, they have appointed someone to head the STC. So we expect that they follow due diligence. They should sign a deal that is airtight, because once there's a change in power, obviously that they will be scrutinized. They'll ask whether the STC is making good money. That will be the first question to anyone, because we don't care how the party or how much the party makes from it. I mean, if it's your party, you're in power.
So these buses ultimately will be branded STC buses?
Yes, they are being managed by the STC. The only difference is that as part of the money goes into the STC for managing it, part goes to maintenance, another part goes to Mr. Blay himself, and the part goes to constituency before the loan repayment. Because
so these will be like public transport,
right?
Yes, yes.
3 million.
One of them in each constituency.
Yes, for each constituency. So the bus will not be in the constituency necessarily, but the money generated from each bus will go to a constituency.
Right. So you might run
what would they use it for?
So the money is to run the constituency, because they want the party to become self-sufficient. In fact, we are told that they have an agro-processing model that will also be coming up. And he says that whether he wins or not, this model stays. But the bigger question is whether it influences voters. I mean, you can call it vote buying. I mean, you are free to do that. But what we've seen delegates do over a period of time, it doesn't really mean that doing all these things may necessarily get you the vote.
Can you call it vote buying though? Because is he giving money to voters, or is it he's sending it to his party? Because if it goes to the constituency, I'm assuming it's the constituency office of the NPP that will be getting the money, not the voters. So can we really call it vote buying?
More importantly, the constituencies, there are delegates from the constituency who will be voting in these particular elections. So they are assured of regular stream of income, because we know for a fact that the parties really struggle to manage themselves at the constituency levels.
So will it be the delegates who will get the income, or will it be the office?
It's the party, importantly, it's the party at that level. But I mean, the influence still is there.
Yeah, and you know, a man who is also in the race for this position, a man who's been there 4 times, says, why didn't he do this in 2014, 2015, 2016? Why is he doing this now? And why are the buses in town with like barely 3 days to the day that delegates will be voting? So lots of questions.
Suspicious timing is what.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we are focusing on the 2 individuals. There's one other person who is contesting, Dr. Richard Amakoba. I don't know whether you are calling.
Oh, we do.
Political science
department. He used to be the head of the
We
department.
used to comment a lot on
spoke to him one point or the other.
Very true.
Particularly after 2016 elections.
I think
and
before,
then,
prior.
Before, yes.
It was pretty much hard on the government then, and shortly after the elections, we realized he was actually with the MPP.
Yeah, so I guess we would say, we know why then, right?
Yes.
It all makes sense
he
now.
Says, say money no be problem. And this election
I
is
saw
not
it in
about
one
money.
of the papers.
Yes, he says the election is not about money, so he's...
So it's getting interesting,
to
but
win.
what we do know, what we can tell you for a fact is that we'll bring you live coverage of this delegate conference. Hopefully we see a few of the buses on the ground. We will report that as well. Live from Kumasi.
But what I pick up from what has been transpiring over the last few weeks, if not months, is that if you look at the 3 of them, it looks like it's Mr. Blay who seemed to have a certain strategy and message as to how he hopes to move the party forward.
Maybe you've been following his campaign.
No,
those who've been following Mr. Nteam,
no.
and
Mr. Nteam has been talking, but also has centered. Mr. Nteam has centered much of his talk around the fact that he's been there. He's been there so consistently because he's contested and done well or served the party well. It means that he has to be rewarded because this is his time.
I heard him say that he's not talking about reward, because he gives some kind of outline. He says, why are we not asking the other candidates about reward? Because check this out. And this is, I mean, it was as he was outlining, then I kind of was also thinking about it. John Boydu chairs a certain board. Mr. Blay chairs a board as well.
GMPC board, yes.
The youth organizer who is going for the national organizer position also chairs the YEA. Exactly. Yes. He doesn't chair anything. He makes the point that Mr. Blay's wife is also ambassador to Germany. So why are we not asking the others, but we're asking him that question?
Yeah. Interesting.
So, but he's on the board. He's on the board.
Mr. Nteam?
Yeah.
Yes, we are told at the Lands Commission or so.
He's on the board.
As a chair or a board member?
The point he had made was that, I mean, it's due to their hard work that they all got something, and the people are trying to suggest that he should be satisfied with what he has, and and not concentrate. And that's why he makes the point that the others also have more than he even has, but they all want to hold on to.
Yeah. So we will see, you know, fear delegates, whatever the delegates do is their business.
Mama V, you mentioned a story that I think is important for women, the glutathione story from the FDA.
Yeah. People want their babies to come white. They want them to be fair.
So they take this drug.
Yeah.
Okay, now glutathione on its own, I mean, 250 to 300 milligrams of it is actually used as a health supplement. Okay, so it kind of boosts your immune system. But there are tablets.
It before?
No, I read about it. You can tell that Akable and I don't take. Yeah. But there are tablets that contain 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams of glutathione, which are being taken by women to, you know, lighten their skin and the skin of their babies, and it has serious potential health risks. Yes, serious potential health risks, including cancer. You can even get asthma, lung disease, all kinds of.
It used to be ayolo, and now we're
they want the babies to be fair.
To be fair, they want the babies to look like you.
No, but would they grow up fair?
I don't know.
Or they have to keep up with the complexion?
I don't know.
What we do know is that this is dangerous.
Because genetics is genetics. If you're dark and your baby comes out fair, no matter what it is.
But glutathione baby, dear, you know.
No,
people
over time.
I think people just assume. People make assumptions. People speculate, and others just blindly follow.
But it's
just
very
eat
dangerous.
carrots if you're
very
pregnant.
dangerous.
That's
What would that
healthy.
do? What would that do to your baby's skin?
You're healthy.
They want complexion, not.
It's very dangerous. But
Not a healthy baby.
if you
A
take,
healthy baby is better than anything else. Forget about color.
so now it's banned. It can't be brought into the country. But
But it
will
is in the country. It's
it
coming
will be
through
brought into
illegal.
the country.
But so is
You mean-
tramadol. Tramadol is banned, isn't it?
So it exists.
Through the formal entry points, yes, banned.
Yes.
So it is on the market. Okay, so you kind of summed it up beautifully for us. Let's do the daily graphic.
The daily graphic,
You have to
the
show
story about the NPP, they're asking whether is it Blay. There's also a photograph of Dr. Amwako Ba. We said he used to be with the political science department of the University of Ghana.
Yeah.
He is contesting.
He wants to be
particular
chairman.
position, yes, and there's also Stephen Intim also wants to contest. He wants to be chairman as well. Also on the front page of the daily graphic. Some more stories on the front page of the daily graphic. Below it, there's this one about government and its first 10 career diplomats, and will 2018 mid-year review settle 7 billion CD liability question is also being asked by the daily graphic this morning. So I think the major story is the NPP one, which we've already discussed. So we can look at the other papers as well.
Yeah, but there's also St. Peter's was a decided battle for gold.
Oh yeah,
as national science and masquerade.
Live on the JoyNews channel from 10 o'clock, right?
Absolutely.
But of course, we'll be there. You guys will be there, won't you, on the ground very shortly. Business Finder, maybe? Yeah? Or
there's a story about
the
Kelny GVG.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, just court
GVG.
stops.
You were in court yesterday.
We missed it, but we got the ruling later on.
Okay.
About it has to do with Suba. Suba, they were doing the revenue monitoring. The contract was terminated just when the NPP took over power. Suba dragged the NCA to court over the matter. They secured an injunction. Then the NCA appealed that at the Court of Appeal. But even before that appeal be heard, they filed for a stay of execution. That is to set aside the injunction while they appealed that decision. But that was dismissed yesterday.
So injunction upheld?
Upheld, yes. And interestingly, today there is also a ruling. We're expecting a ruling on an injunction that was filed by Maximus Ametogo and Sarah Safriji, still on the Kelny GVG agreement.
So which court is handling this one?
This is the High Court.
But I want to know, there's one that was ruled that the contract should be made available.
Yes, so they have up until Tuesday.
That's a different.
That's different from this
one.
one.
So
and then
there are about 3 cases.
All related to the Kelny GVG deal.
All related to revenue monitoring. That is more accurate.
And the NC and the Communications Ministry at the center.
Yeah.
But let's ask a certain question about this most recent deal, most recent ruling. It's against the NCA because the NCA had the contract with Suba.
Yeah.
So NCA and GRA have been stopped, if you will, from signing any new contracts or executing any new contracts. But the Kelny GVG contract is between the Ministry of Communication and Kelny GVG.
Who told you that one?
That is the truth.
In fact,
the
explanation we got from the ministry was that the Communication Ministry signed on behalf of the Finance Ministry.
Exactly.
Which GRA is under the Finance Ministry. Same way NCA is under the Communications Ministry.
Exactly.
However,
so that's what I was on behalf of the NCA.
No, it's not on behalf of the NCA is the implementing body of the contract. Okay, so it's even in the wording of the contract, according to those who have told us about it on Newsfile and so forth, that the NCA is the implementing body. It's not a party to the contract. Okay, the parties to the contract are the Finance Ministry, Communications Ministry, and Kelny GVG. So if this court order says NCA and GRA cannot enter into any new contracts while the Suba matter is being resolved, does it affect the Communication Ministry, who is not a party to this Suba injunction? That's a question I would love to get some legal answers to.
But at least we know that
the Communication Ministry is respecting the fact that there is an injunction application already. So they're already not acting. That's why the Vodafone CEO said they are connected the taps, the pipes, but the water is not flowing.
Flowing. Exactly. Yeah. So
it's because of this particular injunction, or
the one that I said the ruling is
was
coming
the
today.
ruling that we're expecting
the
today.
one that's coming today.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, well.
We wait to see. We're all interested in the contracts. Now, I'm just going to say that aren't we also interested in this bus contract with STC? After all, STC is a public institution.
Have they entered into any contract?
They said it's still in the process. Yeah. You know, things are still happening. But
I didn't know that.
And I like the fact that
could buy buses to be managed by STC.
I like the fact that Wichinyama was plain yesterday on radio, giving us even with the figures. And telling us what the deal is. So I'm sure that they will make everything available.
So it's cool.
We want to see. So that if I feel like I can get some huge loan from the bank and buy some buses and give it to STC or, you know, whatever. Meanwhile, Ayalolo has been in the news. Anna.
Yes, I heard the Deputy Minister yesterday. He blamed it on the structure. You know, they had a BRT, they brought in the private sector. He said that arrangement is a bit problematic. So they are trying to turn that around.
The workers have not been paid for some time now, and they've been agitating.
And the thing is, I used that service. I remember the first time that they came, and if we could only make it work, having an exclusive lane, even though we don't have really the exclusive lanes, I think that's the main issue they have.
I think we haven't worked on the basics.
Yeah,
it will be impossible to implement it fully.
It's one of the most workable solutions to perhaps public transport, in which
it's a discipline problem, isn't it?
In which that we have a peculiar lane, an exclusive lane that is supposed to be for free-flowing to and fro travel for buses.
Yeah.
And then you have a certain connecting system where if you and I have buses through a certain company or whatever incorporated entity, we can also join the fray. Then you have your buses in there operating,
licensed and
so that we rid the city
ours
of.
Is complicated.
I don't know. Those who manage all these things, they've been to the UK. They've been to. I think the best public transport system is in the UK, right?
London, you know, I was monitoring. You know, they have this with Love from Russia. There are lots of other things that other media houses are doing because of the football in Russia. And one of the things I watched was how the transport system, whether the train, you know, the public transport, how it works. So they kind of test it, and you see the processing. And why can't we have this in Ghana?
I don't know.
It's not possible.
Discipline. It's a discipline problem.
One of my lecturers always simply says, we have too many problems. We don't know which one to solve first, and we end up solving.
Is that it?
True. I agree.
We have too many problems.
You know, in 1945, several parts of Europe were virtually bombed and burnt down.
World War II.
Yeah.
You're going too far. Let's just look at Rwanda. War torn Rwanda some few years back.
Yeah. So they rebuilt Europe after 1945. They rebuilt Europe after 1945. London was being bombed. If you look at all the literature and what the story says about and the accounts, it was bombed to the ground. But you go there now.
The difference, is the mindset of the people.
They go to better schools.
And it's not about the education. It's about mindset. Winston Churchill famously, just before the tide of the war turned and, the Allies won, when Winston Churchill and his government were under pressure to actually sign a deal with Hitler, he went on the tube, public transport again, and asked ordinary British people, including children, whether he should sign a deal or not. And the answer was unanimous, that no, we can manage our own affairs, no matter how powerful and strong he is. If we sign a deal with him, it's the end of us. Okay, it's the mindset. Altogether, they have a certain way of thinking, and it influences everything they do. In Ghana, altogether, we have a certain way of thinking, and it influences the things we do. We all want to benefit
the BBC
individually.
This morning, they were talking about how the NHIS is 70 years and, you know, the free medical care.
And they're
I was like, oh my God.
70 years.
NHS.
NHS.
Yes.
The health system.
70
The one
years.
that we try to model our own on, and it's not working.
Okay,
Anyway,
we have to
the Ghana
quickly do
city has
this.
been falling.
Okay, yeah.
And it's been, we know that.
I heard Kojo Paul Kumasi yesterday that James Abeji is predicting.
It's a doom conspiracy.
Fear and panic. So he's
Causing fear and
projecting or something. But there was panic and there was something for the city.
I say.
You see how you know, perspective changes when you're in government, right?
But what's interesting is that they prefer to talk about the rates of depreciation rather than how the value to which that's depreciated to.
Yeah.
How can I feel the rate of depreciation when I'm spending, when I'm buying?
But depending on where you're standing,
goods?
you say what is favorable to you.
But how is that, honestly?
So even though we are around 4.8, they are saying that, I mean,
it's cool.
It's cool.
The rate at which it was when we took over, up to
and
the
then
time
you hear we've managed it better than our predecessors.
The rate,
and they compare it all the way to Kufuor and say, yes, the worst management of the city was under
an ATM.
Maybe
government.
that is one of our biggest problems. Can we deal with now? I mentioned to you, I went around with an MP, the MP for Medina, and somebody saw him and said, this place hasn't been fixed. When it rains, the place gets flooded. Fix it. And then the man says, but there were people who came before me. And then he said, yes, I know. But you are the one in power, talking to you.
Yeah.
And I just loved it.
I think Dr. Bawumia must arrest the CD, and this time around.
I'm told the IGP
keep it in custody.
No, we can't trust the IGP now. They should turn it to the CDS.
And not granted bail. But you know,
okay,
look, very
we have
important.
to run. Benedict is on standby.
Oh, right. Okay, so really quickly on this CD thing, we have to hear from the economic management team for a change, you know, so that it doesn't become too political, but it becomes technical. We want to understand what the plan is, because the reality is that this city is not depreciating because we are sitting around doing nothing. They're clearly doing something, but why is it not working, or when will it work? You know, let's hear about what is being done.
You know what?
The US dollar, okay, the US dollar is getting stronger. We keep forgetting that. It's not just our city that is getting weaker.
The US dollar
is getting stronger.
They've
increased their rates. You see, so all of these things have a knock-on effect on us. What's our plan? How are we fighting these things? How are we combating them? Moody's says that we are in trouble. Zambia is another country in Africa, but in addition, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Argentina, these are countries that are all
Argentina really struggling.
Indeed,
Argentina.
facing the pain of the growing strength of the dollar. So what is our plan? How are we fighting it? We need to know some of these things. Economic management team could educate us a bit.
We'll call Dr. Bawumia
on what's being done
for you. You have a special interview.
That's it for the papers.
See how we can
So you're in court today?
Yes, Maureen.
All right. which case are you for?
Kelny GVG.
Kelny GVG.
Yes, whether
Are you a petitioner?
Charlie, Kelny GVG has come to stay.
Are you a petitioner?
Kelny GVG.
You're covering.
I'm just an observer.
Right now.
Oh, but
are you allowed to use your phones?
I was going to go to that.
There's a wholesale
an embargo.
Yeah.
Does that happen anywhere else? You can take your phone. You can take.
It's a bit strange. I mean, they are saying that you're not allowed to use electronic gadgets. So
the
question I kept asking is that, assuming a lawyer has his law books on the phone, on the tablet, and wants to use them, you can't use them.
Yeah, because they say
but
court
can you
users.
use a notepad though?
But why would a lawyer
so
bring
you can't use a diary and pen.
2018.
You can use a diary and a pen.
A diary and a pen, nothing electronic.
As a reporter.
We still wear the wig.
So what if, God
British
forbid,
don't wear the
what if
wig
there's an
anymore.
emergency in the courtroom? How do we make an emergency call?
Oh, no, we do it the way we did in
rush
the
out.
40s or whatever.
All right, Akwesi?
Yeah.
What's up?
A day.
Yeah? Okay, listen, the World Cup is on a kind of a break. Let's talk about World Cup tomorrow, but let's talk about Wimbledon. I beg, let's talk about Wimbledon, because Roger Federer, I was waiting for you to talk about Roger Federer, the fact that he's changed his kits Well, not entirely, because he's still wearing the Nike shoes, but he's got a new signing on. Let's talk about Wozniacki. She's out.
Yeah, she's out.
Let's talk about Serena Williams and her sister.
Yeah, after what she did, at the Australian Open, she's out. But you know, Serena Williams is back, and the last one didn't really go quite well. So she'll be hoping to become mentor this year's Wimbledon. But the attention obviously is not as it used to be on the Wimbledon this time because of the World Cup, and also England doing very well. So you know what they are going to do on Saturday? They on one of the courts will be converted to some sort of a venue center for people to come and watch football.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so to get people to come and watch the Wimbledon as well, because if you're leaving people to be at their homes and also go to the pubs to watch the match, that means that on that day people are not going to come to the courts. Forget about the die-hard tennis fans; they won't come.
Oh, that's great.
It's the England.
That's a great strategy. Marketing is called ambush marketing.
Awesome strategy. So one of the courts, they are going to convert it to a viewing center where there will be a giant screen. So we'll play Wimbledon. When it's time for the game, then we'll move and go and watch football.
Okay.
After then we'll come back.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Benedict, you've got a lot more to share. So
the thinking is different. You said the thinking was different.
We will leave you to it. Stay with us for detailed sports.